Hello everyone, welcome back to Owen's Treats. For today's video, we are going to be making a super simple recipe. It's made in 5 minutes and it only uses 4 ingredients. And it's going to be easy 5-minute microwavable fudge. So I'm really excited to make this recipe. Super simple, super easy, super fast. And so with that, let's get into the video and let's start our recipe. So for this recipe, your ingredients will be 12 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips, which is around 2 cups, and then one 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk with the recommended brand, Eagle brand, and then 2 tablespoons of butter, and then 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then I'm going to use sprinkles to decorate the fudge once it's in our pan. And then you'll just need a little bit of pan cooking spray to spray whatever container you're using to set the fudge in. And then you will need a microwavable container that can hold around 3-ish cups. So now we have all of our ingredients. I'm going to start with my first step, which is going to be melting down our chocolate chips. So for our first step, it's going to be super simple, super easy. All we're going to be doing is taking our chocolate chips, putting them in a microwavable safe container, and then we're going to melt it down on 30-second increments in our microwave. We're going to pour the whole bag in. It should be around 2 cups. And then we're going to melt this in our microwave on high for 30-second increments until it's completely melted. And just make sure you don't burn the chocolate. And just watching the microwave to make sure that it melts down nice and smooth into a nice and smooth consistency. So now that our chocolate is fully melted, we're going to start with our next step, which is going to be incorporating our sweetened condensed milk and our butter. So I just opened our can of sweetened condensed milk. I'm going to take the lid off and make sure to be careful because it can be sharp. And then I'm just going to pour the whole can of sweetened condensed milk into our chocolate. And our chocolate should be the same consistency as our sweetened condensed milk once you've melted it. And now we're going to stir our chocolate with our condensed milk until it is fully incorporated. And the mixture will thicken up quite a bit and might become a little bit lumpy, and that is because of the sweetened condensed milk probably being at room temperature, cooling down the chocolate as you're mixing it in. Just do your best to make sure it is as well incorporated in as possible. And so now that we have our sweetened condensed milk and our chocolate all mixed in, we're going to take our 2 tablespoons of butter and we're going to cut them up into cubes, and then we're just going to put them in to our mixture. And this will make it easier for the butter to melt once we put this back into the microwave. And so now we're going to remelt this in the microwave for 30 to 45 seconds until the butter has melted into our chocolate and sweetened condensed milk mixture. And then the entire mixture overall should become a lot smoother. So this is going to go back into our microwave for around 30 to 45 seconds until everything is melted, and then you'll stir to combine. Alright, so now that our butter is incorporated into our chocolate and sweetened condensed milk mixture, our next step is going to be adding our vanilla extract into our mixture. So now that our mixture has reached its smooth consistency again, and the butter is melted fully, we're going to add in our 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And this is just going to add in our flavoring for our fudge, and so it's not as rich. And it should become a lot smoother, the consistency of our mixture. And so now that our mixture has all its ingredients and is all fully combined, we are now going to move on to our next step, which is going to be setting it into the dish that will be chilled in the fridge to set our fudge. So we're going to move to our second to final step, which is going to be putting it into our container and decorating it. Okay, so now we're on our second to last step. So I have our container here, that's going to that we're going to set our fudge in. I have Pam cooking spray, so I'm just going to do a thin coating of Pam all around the pan. Pam around the pan. And this will help the fudge release out of the pan once it's done chilling. So now that we have that set in there, we're going to pour in our fudge mixture from our melting container. And if you're doing a bigger batch of this, I would recommend using a wider pan, like a 9x13, so you can get more squares out of it and they're less tall as they are wide. And then we're just going to spread it around with our spatula and make sure we get a nice even layer. It should set out mostly by itself, but in case there's a few ridges or one side seems to be a tad bit thicker than the other, it's always nice to just go over it with our spatula and just smooth it out. So now that it is in our pan and nice and level, we're going to decorate with some sprinkles. So I have an assortment of colors here, and it's themed to Easter since Easter is coming around the corner, for me that is. And all I'm going to do is give the top layer a nice coating. And so now that we have a nice even coating of sprinkles, more sugar, on top, we're going to put this into our fridge and let it set for at least 2 hours, just so everything has a chance to solidify and become solid. And so it won't melt when you try to take it out of the pan and it won't fall apart. So we're going to chill this for at least 2 hours and then we'll cut it out of the pan and we'll serve our little fudge squares. So I'm going to go chill this and then I'll show you the final result. And here is our finished fudge out of the fridge. I've let it chill for 2 hours and it's solidified and hardened. And it looks fantastic and I've already had a little taste. So with that, thank you guys for joining me on another episode of Owen's Treats. And I'll make sure to see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!